Africa has a tradition of sharing powerful ideas with compelling stories. And what I'd like to do today is tell you the story of Kamara. This is Kamara. She lives in a major African city. She works for this city, and she loves her city. But like any major urban area, any major city, she knows that there are problems. Traffic issues. Traffic is a real issue for her and for her fellow citizens. Congestion, infrastructure problems, road inventory being an issue, unregulated transport, etc., etc. Security is a big concern. Major security problem areas in the city, bad lighting, availability of emergency services, things that people have to live with on a daily basis in some of these big cities. Bureaucracy is a big issue. Everything is paper-based. Lots of manual processes. Long queues that people have to wait and traverse through. So what she wants to do is find a way to resolve this. The first thing she does is she knows that to connect all of this infrastructure of sensors and IoT devices to solve some of these problems, she needs to deploy a network. And she decides to deploy a private 5G network with resilience and with access to a public 5G network as well. That's the first thing she decides to do. Now, she is deploying multiple networks, multiple devices, multiple systems, but she has to find a way to connect them all together. And she decides to do that via APIs. Once she's got those APIs up and running, and she's gathering all of this data, she wants to visualize that through some kind of dashboard. And so that's an integral part of what she is building. What she's done now is she's got lots and lots of new data. She's got lots and lots of data that she's gathered from all of these devices, which is consumed by the city, and she's got a lot of legacy data as well. And so what she decides to do with that now is make that available outside of the city. So what she's done, just to recap, is build a network to connect, consume a whole bunch of network APIs to facilitate the service, use those APIs to present and visualize everything, and then gather those gather that data through those APIs, and now she wants to make that available externally, and there's a lot of legacy data that she wants to make available as well. There's a trend towards open government and open APIs, and she wants to drive innovation outside of the city for the citizens of the city. So what she decides to do is make everything available through cloud portals and drive innovation from other parties, and we'll talk a little bit about the use cases. She also wants to leverage no-code platforms and drive this concept of a citizen developer. So she wants to reinvent who the developer is. No longer is it the person who's versed in Python and Java, etc., etc. It could be any citizen who has a great idea, who wants to drive an outcome, and she wants to create this no-code platform to allow that person to drive that outcome without writing one single line of code. So let's talk about some use cases. So what she's done now is she's built all these sensors, gathered all this data, she's making it available via APIs. What are the use cases? There is a clinic that wants to, there's a set of clinics who want to improve healthcare to the citizens. And they work with her and the health authority in a secure consent-based environment to harness patient data records and improve health outcomes. So providing a smart and secure aggregated patient data platform through the power of APIs. She talks about removing all the bureaucracy and all those manual paper-based processes by making everything available via an API with consent, fully authenticated and authorized, so third parties now have access to a lot of data. So for example, if someone wants to go and rent a car, they can validate the driving license of the person. They can validate that person has insurance, etc., etc. Security-wise, she's got this network of CCTV. There's consistent gathering of video through these APIs. There's a secure tech company which is using AI to understand that there might be a crime being committed, which then automatically dispatches emergency services via the relevant API. So the use cases are myriad. We've got identity use cases, transport use cases. There's a whole bunch of generic city information which could be consumed by third parties for whatever purpose. Even something as simple as just presenting statistics associated with a city. And ultimately, where she wants to get to is anything and everything associated with the city is available via an API in a secure, consent-based, authorized, authenticated manner for people to drive whatever outcome they want. That full ecosystem of APIs, connectivity, and data. Now, she's got all of this data, all of these services available. She now realizes that there's an opportunity for the city to generate revenue from some of these services. Because some of this data is valuable, right? So she determines that there is a plan where she can generate revenue for charging for these APIs and direct monetization of the services through APIs. She also works out that other people can now offer their services through their platform and for them to generate new revenue streams as well. So she determines that this trajectory of the platform she's built is able to enhance and generate income across the board. So I just want to talk about the Open Gateway project and why it's important to us in MTN and Chenosis. Everything we just talked about, we are in discussions with different cities and government bodies across Africa. And Open Gateway, Kamara APIs, are the foundation for us to achieve that. Standardization is key. Certification is important. We're working with other MNOs across Africa to see how we can aggregate that experience and make it a standardized experience. So the work from GSMA, the work around Open Gateway is core to what we're doing and the story that we want to tell. So just a little bit on Chenosis. Chenosis was created on two trends. The first trend are the demographics of Africa. So Africa, over the next 20 years, will contribute the bulk of 15 to 24-year-olds globally. So in like 2040, US and Europe would be about 8% of that population, of the population will be 15 to 24-year-olds. In Africa, it will be about 20%. So there's this like mass of youth who are going to be available as a talent pool. We need to give them something to do. The second is the evolution of software development to move ultimately to coding being about no code. And we're already seeing template-based no-code platforms. We're starting to see AI, natural language to code platforms coming out. And that's why Chenosis exists, is to bring those two together and that talent pool and the tools for Africa to evolve into a much more powerful player in the global software engineering domain. All of the things that I referenced in that story either exist today from Chenosis or we've got MVPs, we've got pilot platforms associated with most of that capability. We're really, really excited to share our story with you. There are many other stories that we can tell. We'd love to hear your stories and hopefully perhaps build a story together. Really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for your attention. Would love to talk to you after the event. Thank you.